meet everyone and just learn more about the topic.
Oh, yeah, it's an important topic. You know, we got a lot to learn from our. I know I'm looking forward. Are you looking forward to it?
Oh, absolutely.
Cool, cool, cool. So by the end of this, hopefully we all get rich off some crypto. Who knows? We might come up. We'll see. Why not us?
Absolutely.
Who's next? How about mm, how about Corey? Corey, you there?
Yeah, just a sec. Hey, how you doing?
Good, good. How's it going?
Doing all right. So yeah, I was sort of an additional invitee by Mary to sort of fill in some gaps on the. I guess you have two presenters. I was trying to find the right word. Anyway, two presenters, one in the crypto space, one in the wealth management. I'm a fund manager myself. We have our own wealth management firm. You can think of it as running hedge funds for your average investor, but I've been a fund manager for 16 years, and we have funds in all areas of the market, including crypto. So Mary had invited me along to sort of add my 2 cents and my insights into, the conversation and the overall market structure and anything I can do to help add some information to the whole discussion.
All right, brother. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking for your 2 cents and your advice, so I know what to buy. And like I said, hopefully get rich quick, because that's the way it happens always, right? Just gets rich instantly, right?
Just the same way as how quick you can go poor too in these markets.
Yeah, right. It's equally as fast. Live fast, die young. That's what we do, right?
There you go.
Oh my God.
Thanks, Corey. All right. So who we got next? I think we got. Sam, somebody just joined. How about Jessica Javier? Jessica, you there, sis? If not, we can come back to you. I think we're gonna come back to Jessica. How about in that case, Lala or LA? However you...
Yes, Lala, you're right.
Okay.
I'm a friend of Mary's and Gabriella's, and I'm here to learn more about investments. I'm brand new to investing, so I'm excited to learn more.
Okay, what do you, anything in particular you want to learn, or just general?
Just generally.
Okay, sounds good. Well, we got general information for you. Hopefully, this will be a come up. Everybody learns something from everybody here.
Yep. Thank you.
See who else we got here. How about Kevin?
Yep, I'm here.
So Kevin, what information are you hoping to learn, share, those kinds of things here today?
Hopefully a ton, because he's our speaker.
Yeah.
Oh, am I starting right now, or?
No, just what are you interested in sharing with us or learning from us, or just based on what we have going on today? I know you're speaking as well, but I just wanted to kind of hear what your thoughts were as well.
Oh, yeah, just see you guys doing cryptocurrency, and it's always good to be in a group with similar mindsets. And hold on one second.
Okay, and we could take it on to who else is here? Oh, Sally. Hey, Sally.
Hello, hi there. So actually my partner just recently increased some investments that we have, a couple, and I want to get a little refresher on what's happening now, so I can feel a little bit more comfortable.
Mm-hmm. It's always good to be in the know, right?
Yep, definitely.
That's awesome. All right, well, let's get to let me introduce myself real quick. Mary Berhani here, founder of Empowerment Mastermind. It actually started back in August 2020. Gabriella, who's my sister, helped launch it, as well as Greg Brown. So we initially just came together and we're trying to figure out like, hey, we want to start our own networking group. What should we do? We started off with our first event, August 2020, had amazing guest speakers. I think we've had a total of over 40 guest speakers. We've only done 12 events total because our anniversary is actually next month, our 1-year anniversary. Since then, we've went from, I think our first event had 40 people. Now we're at about 500 subscribers, 190 plus folks are getting the text messages because they subscribe. And so pretty much this is what we're doing. We're educating one another. We're trying to build generational wealth. There's definitely a gap in our community, especially people of color and especially women. And so I'm super excited about this event in terms of investing and learning how to better ourselves. You'll see in the room, there's people here that own their own business or they're considering starting a business. Of course, I feel like everyone here has a side hustle. Anthony has his Toro business and he does a whole bunch of other things too. Who else? Mahaleen owns an investment management company, Vista Del Mar. The point of this organization is really to highlight the different folks in the community. And so as you notice, when you RSVP, we always ask, do you want us to promote you on the newsletter and the social media posts? And that's all to promote one another. And everything has been free so far, except our first in-person event, which was in June. So we actually partnered with Breakpoint. Breakpoint is also owned by minorities. So it's a minority owned business. So we held the venue there. It was a pretty successful event. I believe 30 of us got together in person. Just wanted to update you guys. We have an event next month, another in-person event. It's at a soccer tournament. And again, back to promoting each other and trying to support one another. The director of sales is Stephanie at the San Diego Loyals. And so that's why we're having the event there to support Stephanie. And so Stephanie, I don't know if you guys were at the work-life balance event, but she talked about her career trajectory and how even during COVID, she was able to land this job and it's her dream job and passion. So if you want to support Stephanie and you want to interact with one another, please RSVP. Actually, it's not even an RSVP link, just purchase the ticket. It's 100% going towards the ticket cost. It's not going to me at all. So it's a cost of admission. And we're going to meet in person at around 7 p.m. in front of the stadium on August 14th at 7:30 p.m. I believe that's a Wednesday. It falls during this time slot since we meet every third Wednesday around this time slot, but the event is at 7:30, not 6. All right, that's enough of the housekeeping items. I wanted to start off with introducing Rob, Rob Mowry. He was actually a classmate of mine at San Diego State. And I think we took a marketing class together, but Rob, did you want to introduce yourself? And then we'll get into your presentation. Then we're going to introduce Kevin, and then we could do a kind of like a recap of what we learned. And then we'll go into breakout rooms. But Rob, let's start off with you introducing yourself. Let me know if you want me to share your presentation or if you're—
Sure. I think, let me know, am I signing okay? Is it coming through okay?
Yeah, just your video is not on.
Right. I think I'm okay for the screen share, but if not, I'll shoot that over. Just as a little bit of a background, I know Mary actually said from business class at SDSU, and it was maybe 7 years ago. And my biggest takeaway was I was so impressed with the caliber of the speakers there, you know, Mary included, that I went immediately after that class and joined Toastmasters for 6 months. So I got a lot out of that. And if anyone's doing presenting, I do find that to be a good organization worthwhile to put in the time for and, you know, learn the table topics and get that whole wrap down, because it's to be light on your feet can serve you well really in any industry. So why don't we try the screen share and see if this populates the way I did earlier. Okay. You seeing anything there, Mary?
Yes, we are.
Beautiful. Okay. Then I think I'll just get underway here. A little bit of background on me in the intervening years since then. Actually, right about that time, I bought my first Bitcoin in 2014 and have been full-time into crypto since 2017. So I teach computer science at Cal State San Marcos. They have an extended learning program for working professionals, for people that are trying to pivot in some way into tech. And in addition to that, I write on tech topics on my LinkedIn. And I, as part of a YouTube series, interview tech leaders that are touching on to blockchain, AI, crypto trading, that sort of thing. So it really feeds people that have an interest in tech. And essentially, a lot of the opportunities in tech is things that's on the cutting edge, right? I mean, you're not going to see a lot of people that are putting up websites and that are really having hugely growth companies that are kicking off, in all parts of San Diego. It's really people that are offering an opportunity to do something different. And it's just like in medicine, you specialize and you can come at organizations and say, I can do this, they can't. And that bodes well for your hourly rate or whatever you're trying to do. So I think as a foundational understanding, it's good to take a step back. A lot of the words that you hear from people down the news when they're talking about this or other venues is very opaque. So I think understanding what is blockchain starts out this conversation. And it really is a ledger. So a way of recording information that everyone believes. So it's impossible to hack and cheat in some way. An example I was giving to some people yesterday is that if you have 3 computers and you all deliver the same information to all 3 of those computers, and one of them says, well, I believe something other than what I was given, the other 2 people can say, well, actually, that's not the case. So for all the flowery language and complexity, it's really just a way of putting out information and stamping it so that everyone believes it. And as an offshoot of that, cryptocurrency is just a type of digital money or asset that uses the blockchain. So when you have money on there that's linked to the dollar, or you have an asset that's linked to something, or that's the asset itself, it just uses that blockchain foundation. So the essential element of what a blockchain is and what cryptocurrencies are just boils down to those 2 keywords, and everything is an offshoot from that. And the reason why crypto is important, and especially is getting traction as a result of the pandemic and people having to work outside of the office, which it really kicked down the road several years in terms of adoption, is that first and foremost, it can send value across borders virtually free. Depends on which blockchain you use. Bitcoin, you can do it for $10, Ethereum, 5 to 10, depending on the activity going on. Its storage can be done in a smart wallet, which is essentially just a series of numbers and letters. And it's pretty difficult at this present time, almost impossible to crack. So it's good at protecting things from getting seized, as opposed to, use a standard bank account. Anything can be levied at any time with just a piece of paper. And then the interesting thing about the pandemic is companies are using crypto to grow. And now we have the largest companies in the world that are having team members all around the world. And this type of decentralized or distributed workforce, really crypto started when they kicked things off in a big way, when Satoshi Nakamoto, the mythical person behind Bitcoin, really started things in earnest in 2009. And in terms of why they differ from stocks, if you take another step back, you look at what is the value of a crypto and then what's the value of a stock. We all see stocks on CNBC and we see they have a certain valuation. Well, the valuation is really, when you boil down the actual core essence of it, it's the promise of future dividends or a return on capital, right? So the S&P 500, I think the current time has a dividend of like 2%. So you would hold on to that $4,300 S&P 500 for the expectation of, getting that 100 a year. And then in the future, you're hoping that it's going to go up so that the distribution of the dividend will go up. And essentially that's how you build, as Mary was saying, like generational wealth, just have that kind of grow with time. And it's done passively. People that are living in retirement, they're earning passive income, and capital gains amounts to 90% of how people have wealth and spend wealth. And that's really how you grow it. So what you see as, I would say, the 3 big examples besides Bitcoin is, as I show here, Ethereum, Doge, and Polygon or Matic. And you may have heard of Ethereum, you may have heard of Doge, and Matic's kind of a new one that's coming up. But if you look at the valuation and why this is interesting from an investment standpoint is you have, let's say, Ethereum, which is the number 2 blockchain at, everything went up 8% today. So it'll be, let's just say 250 billion. This is a company that, 6 years ago, you could have got a portion of for 43 cents. So a lot of these companies, they grow so quickly that it represents an interesting investment opportunity, because if you were looking for that type of scaling or growth based on the S&P 500 itself, it would take many decades. And truth be told, with a lot of stocks, by the time they hit an exchange, they've already exited in terms of a lot of the value that's going to be multi-generational. So you look at the Bank of New York, for example, they're making 12 billion in revenue, and they have a market cap of 43 billion. This is a profitable company, a huge bank, that almost can print money, but you're having blockchain projects that are getting valuation and market caps oftentimes in excess of that. In the case of Ethereum, many times in excess of that. And this is just for a technical, project that someone started for not really that much, and then just trumpeted how the platform could be used. So it's just, when you look at these numbers, I bought my first Doge in 2014, and you can see the cost of it was almost nothing. And then, lo and behold, the richest man in the world decides to tweet about it every day, multiple times a day, and then goes on SNL and talks about it. And then it blows up in terms of a speculative vehicle where people are saying, whoa, when he tweets about it, it goes up. And then that got all mixed in with the GameStop phenomenon and the meme stocks. And this whole pushing up based on how the community responds to a particular idea, or not necessarily profitability, but just the notion of something, and then the balancing out of the demand versus supply. So what's very clear with a lot of these crypto companies that I think crypto investors should heed is that the fundamentals are really fluid, let's say. It's based on the valuation of Bitcoin, because they're all tied to Bitcoin, or whatever the winds of the day are. So, when you look at the appreciation here, this is how people are able to make an enormous amount of money. But at the same time, you have to take a step back and say, are a lot of these platforms worth more than the Bank of New York with all their customer base and deposit base? And I would say sometimes yes, but sometimes no. And I think a lot of people invest before they have a clear understanding. So I think when you look at blockchain tech, there's a lot of roller coaster like experiences where you're getting drenched with a fire hose worth of information when you really just want to take a sip. And so people invest in what they don't understand. And I think that can be hazardous to your wealth in the long run. In terms of 2021, obviously the big story last year was the pandemic and kind of bleeding over to this year, but I would distill it down to what amounted to the 80% of the stories of the year. So you had Coinbase, which is the largest exchange in the world, certainly in the United States, go public at a 300 priced earnings. So that tells you two things. One, that if Coinbase made $1, that the valuation of the company would be 300. So essentially, if you brought in 100,000, the company itself is valued at 30 million. So with this type of excitement, this eclipses even the .com era. So we remember kind of how that fell apart and everything. But what that really tells you is that there's a real excitement about this industry, its ability to change the world economy. And it really speaks to the instability in many parts of the financial system and people being concerned about inflation, the printing of bailout money, and just worldwide instability as a whole. And cryptocurrencies as a hedge for people to get out of inflationary currencies in South America, Central America, that sort of thing. So that was big, especially in New York, having the cryptocurrency name and a cryptocurrency company going public on Wall Street, which was very antithetical to crypto in all of its forms for the longest time. It's the hardest state to be able to have a business that would sell Bitcoin or any kind of currency along those lines. So that was very monumental for the space. And then you have an exchange. If you look at these two gentlemen in the center, one's CZ and then one's Sam Friedman, Bank Friedman. And they both have the largest exchanges. Coinbase really just is a one-on-one exchange, but these are like futures exchange where you will trade on leverage. But FTX, with the movement and the appreciation of Bitcoin, is making so much that they signed a stadium deal for where the Miami Heat play out of. And they sponsored the conference, the biggest conference of the year in Miami. And by the way, the mayor of Miami is huge into Bitcoin and wants to make Miami into Bitcoin USA. So you have these public figures, you have these young guys that are 29 in the case of the gentleman on the right, fresh out of MIT, and are really riding the wave of the volatility into enormous profits. I mean, if you can buy the naming rights of a stadium and it have very minimal impact on your balance sheet, you're really doing something right. And then the last one was Beeple's NFT. So NFTs are just digital art. And this very well-regarded contemporary artist sold one of his NFTs on the blockchain. And he's big into cryptocurrencies and blockchain projects for $69 million, which places him in the top 5 for living artists. And this positions him against Damien Hirst. I mean, some of the biggest that are hitting any art medium. So his impact on legitimizing the space was huge. And I think when it comes to NFTs being the most recent discussion that was hitting a lot of touchstones and people were talking about, especially because of the numbers that were involved, it's really just the scarcity that the blockchain identifies. I mean, people try to overcomplicate it, but it's really the Topps company, for example, saying this baseball card there's only one of them minted, and it's the most important of the set. So if you buy it, it'll be more valuable. And just like how the actual cardboard cards have value because the Beckett guide or different guides tell you that they're valuable. So the scarcity drives the supply and demand, which negotiates the value in the long term. And then you're seeing increasingly more powerful and well-regarded artists enter the space. And of course, with e-gaming, I remember I went to a blockchain week event at the LA Convention Center, and I saw a Staples Center game between Clippers and Lakers, which went into double overtime. It was awesome. But the next day, they had an e-gaming event that sold out Staples. And these are 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds that are having people massage them before the event to keep their shoulders loose. And it's a whole new world with e-gaming, and NFTs play a part of that by being a marketplace through which they can sell some of their tokens and how you can sell accounts, that sort of thing. And I would say if you're interested in the ecosystem, there's a bunch of resources. I graduated from college 15 years ago with a degree in real estate and was really self-taught on coding. And they have what are called MOOCs, massive online open coursework courses on edX, Coursera. And you can really go a long way to teaching yourself the inner workings of a lot of these technologies, whether you want to do blockchain or specialize in any area of tech, really. And then on top of that, they have amazing tutorials on YouTube. The two industry publications that are the most well-regarded are Cointelegraph and CoinDesk. And of course, the home of long-form discussion for crypto and for a lot of things really is Reddit. So I'd encourage you to go on there. I have a book, which I'm happy to send out to whomever for free. DAO, The Time Is Now, where I talk a little bit more of a technical nature on how things work in the ecosystem. And then on my LinkedIn, there's a newsletter that discusses trading and NFTs more and the GameStop situation, that sort of thing. So I would tell someone, and I do tell people because I teach a class over at San Marcos. We had a blockchain certificate last semester, and we'll probably have one in the winter as well, is the best way you can benefit in general. If this interests you, see if you want to code. And then if you do specifically like to code and you're interested in this technology, they have over 8,500 cryptocurrency projects. Not all of them are worth more than a New York bank. A lot of them are just trying to do interesting things in a better way and are trying to be more nimble than a larger organization. So if you jump on their website, they have resources so you can pitch yourself. And then really, even just writing about it, that can get you some good exposure. So I'd encourage you to look at all the free resources that are out there, and I'd be happy to answer any questions people have during the Q&A.
That is awesome, Rob. Any questions for Rob?
Rob, can you go a little bit into the blockchain? It's still a confusing concept. I know you said it's like a ledger and the source of truth, but can you talk a little bit more about that and mining? I always hear people saying mining and it just sounds like a weird concept. So if you could simplify that.
Sure, Gabriela. I'll attack the mining one first. So that whole process is Bitcoin originally founded with the way to securitize the transactions through what's called proof of work. And all that is solving a math problem. And the first one to solve the math problem is awarded, an award. In the case, as it stands now, it's like 12, actually, I think it's like 6 Bitcoin, which is worth a lot. So there's a lot of very powerful computers that are trying to solve this equation. And you can do it across a number of different projects, and people have specific computers that are called ASICs, essentially integrated circuit boards, that all they do is mine these mathematical equations for the highest probability of solving a problem. And in the past, you could just use your laptop. And a lot of the people that I talk to at the conventions will use their laptop to have mined, hundreds of Bitcoins. A lot of them will have mined it and then forgotten their passwords and everything, which is pretty tragic. But I think the reason why that happens now is because if you wanted to overtake a blockchain, like let's say, for example, that you wanted to make it so that you could hack into a ledger and you would be able to change various transactions and get away with some cybercrime, you would need so many computers that it would be, well, first of all, you couldn't rent that many computers because they're just too distributed and they're not on any one platform where you could rent them per se. But essentially, it just makes it so that the Bitcoin is the most secure platform. And the reason why people mine is because it can create a good profitability for the longest time for their computer. They'd pay their computer off with these mining fees. And that's increasingly difficult. Most mining gets done in China, and it gets done on an industrial scale with these huge warehouses. And then going to the blockchain part of it, I think that the most basic way to understand a blockchain is that it's really like an Intuit spreadsheet, and different people are just tapping into that. And when you go to, let's say, Google, I guess Excel or whatever the Google's version of that, you're just clicking download, right? So you're getting an Excel spreadsheet made by someone, and you're copying an exact copy of that person's document per se. So essentially, that's all people are doing. They're downloading an exact copy that's coming from this this community, peer-to-peer network. So I hope that answered your question, but the mining is to secure the network, and the blockchain is just a way of keeping everyone honest.
Okay, that last bit that you just said made it clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would love to extend it to the group.
We can't hear you, Mary.
Could you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, would love to extend to the group. Are you guys investing in cryptocurrency now? If anybody wants to share their experience.
I definitely am. And that's the part where it gets a little dicey, because when I'm reading the news, which I know, it's just so new that it's hard to know what's true or not, as compared to like when I'm investing in stocks, it's a lot easier to understand what the value of the company is. But with like Bitcoin and then the big crash that happened again, and then now Ethereum is the thing, and then I hear Cardano, and there's just all these different ones that come out, and I try to do research on them, but I just feel like it's just hard to know which ones have the true value. So I don't know if you can give advice on, I guess, the best sources for truth or strategy for when you're investing in crypto that might be helpful.
I would definitely be happy to shed a light on that. I think Reddit's really the winner of a place to go to. On a lot of these platforms, they're so established and they're so valuable that you really want to get it, as in with any new company, you want to get in early. And when people are getting started with things, because that's the way you can get a meaningful stake without really putting out much of anything in the way of cash.
I would like to say that Reddit is what we used here, and we did Ethereum and Doge, and we had investments in Ethereum, but we did Doge once we saw the SNL with Elon Musk. So, but yes, Reddit was where I was studying. So that's a great pointer. Thank you.
And Gabriella, so with our firm, one of the funds we run is a Bitcoin fund. However, we are not trading through the crypto wallets. There is an ETF-based product out there that you can trade through the public markets through any brokerage firm. We utilize Schwab's institutional platform for the custodianship of our clients' accounts, and that's where I trade through for all of our different funds. But so there is an ETF-based product out there that could be utilized to trade through those through that arena, as opposed to going through a crypto wallet. But there is a deterioration factor. But there's a lot of other stuff going on out there. I mean, currently we are sitting in cash on our Bitcoin fund. We started it in June of last year. And as of today, we're still up 107% from when we started the fund over over a year, I guess. But we're still currently in a cash position, waiting for a buy signal on it. And there are something that's called halving events that occurs. The last one that occurred was April 12th. And think of it as when you're using 100 kilowatts of electricity to produce one Bitcoin. After the halving, that same 100 kilowatts of electricity only gives you half a Bitcoin. So what that's doing, think of it like mining gold out of the ground. The more gold you take out of the ground, the more scarce it becomes, because there's less gold still in the ground to extract, which, economics 101, supply and demand, the scarcer something becomes, the more that the demand is still there, prices have to go higher. And based on the stock to flow modeling for Bitcoin, the projection for that is still for it to hit 100,000 by towards the end of this year. The next halving, I believe, is 2024. And after that, there's a factor of 10 ratio that it climbs. So after the next halving, they're looking for it to go to $1 million. It's currently trading at about 32,000. So anyway, if you want to talk offline, I'm going to post all my contact info on there, and we can discuss things further. I don't want to take up too much time here, but I'm always here as a resource.
Yeah, thank you. That was really helpful.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I know Corey also has a stream, like I believe a streaming platform, or at least a newsletter that you send out with video recordings that give you up-to-date market info. But you could talk to him offline about that. Rob, I wanted to go into your platform. I know you're saying you're interviewing folks. What type of folks are you interviewing on your show or program?
So one of my most recent ones, was an AI expert, and he is looking from an AI perspective, what's going on blockchain. They have virtual worlds. And so he looks from that perspective. I interviewed a guy that exclusively does trading, and we had a technical discussion because he trades futures and then against, spot. So he does all these complicated trades, and he was talking about how crypto is a completely new way to trade. And it was really interesting how just things on crypto change so quickly in terms of people being for it or against it, and how it's so fraught with volatility that he really has to be on his toes. I have another one coming up with a person that, like myself, is a developer and is building things on Ethereum in the world of decentralized finance. So a lot of these FinTech companies are doing projects where they're giving you like a debit card associated, now that some of the biggest crypto companies are issuing that. And the one after that is going to be one on crowdfunding. So people may have read that the Jobs Act, which essentially is a way that people raise money for their companies, has been expanded. So they're going to talk a little bit about how crypto companies are, raising money doing that. So it's just an interesting web of people taking something different from blockchain, 6 ways to Sunday in every different direction.
Interesting. Any other specific questions for Rob from the group? Okay. And Rob, I believe, is going to stick around for the breakout sessions, right, Rob?
Without a doubt. Can't wait to hear Kevin and what everyone's want to talk about.
Okay, awesome. So before we jump to Kevin, Greg, I forgot to introduce you earlier. Greg, did you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we could transition to Kevin?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, my phone was on mute. Hey, everyone, I'm Greg Brown. As Mary mentioned during her introduction, I started out with her last year and helping to get this organization off the ground. By degree and training, I guess my career, my day job is a civil engineer, and I work for a construction firm. Currently working as a project manager and engineer. And then my startup is my own consulting firm where I'll be concentrating on project management and project coordination. As far as today's topic, I've been dabbling in stocks for several years now. I trade use Schwab, and then I just started messing around with crypto for the last several months. So I'm a newborn to that, so I'm looking forward to learning more tonight and see how this information can help me, and in turn I can share this knowledge with others. So looking forward to meeting everyone in the breakout room, and talk to you soon. Thanks, Mary.
Okay, awesome. And just wanted to acknowledge Veronica Jones is here too. She's on the marketing side and the event planning side. So all that beautiful collateral you've seen in the past, she was responsible for that. Veronica, did you want to go ahead and introduce yourself while I'm setting up Kevin's deck real quick?
Yeah. Hi, guys. My name is Veronica. I'm local to the San Diego area. I work a lot in marketing and currently run the marketing for a local discount store in San Diego. I've also, like Mary said, I've helped her out with a lot of the marketing for Mary Consulting Services and the empowerment masterminds. So for crypto and investing, I'm really just trying to get on board and learn as much as I can. My husband has been investing in crypto for a while now, and it's honestly money that's I'm not sure what's happening to it. So I'm very happy to be here with all of you guys and learn.
All right.
Okay, so